رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، شر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. We give thanks and praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, our situation changes day to day, time to time, weeks to weeks, and month to month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows well, and nothing goes against his wishes and wills, except that he knows there's khair in it. وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. And not even a leaf that falls down from the tree, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows and is aware. Not even a drop of water come down from the sky, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware and by his permission. For therefore, whatever happened in the world, whatever happened in your family, whatever happened anywhere, remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows well what's happening. All what we need to do, we need to make dua for ourselves and for everyone in each and every part of the world. Last time we spoke about the wiping over the socks. Last time we spoke about wiping over the socks, wiping over the hijab, wiping over the turban. And we spoke about the conditions, we spoke about everything regarding to it. And the mistake of wudu. We finished the wudu, we said today we're going to speak about al-ghusl. Voilà. What is ghusl? When do we perform ghusl, and how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, how he used to perform ghusl? As I mentioned last time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawabina wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. In Islam, we are meant to take care of the cleanliness of our body and the cleanliness of our heart, soul. In Allah yuhibbu at-tawabin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who clean their heart, and he loves those who clean themselves outwardly and physically. How do we clean ourselves physically? Of course, when we go to the washroom, stinja, brushing the teeth, al-wudu, al-ghusl, any kind of cleanliness is part of faith. And the most important one is al-ghusl. Al-ghusl means to wash yourself. Al-ghusl means to wash yourself. There are two kinds of ghusl we can say. Or you want to call it a bath. When you bath yourself or bathing. There's one of them that you do, you just want to freshen up. Come back from a football game or come back from outside. You feel dirty, come back from work, you feel dirty. You come back from university, you feel dirty. You go take a shower just to freshen up. That's a ghusl, a normal ghusl. And the other ghusl, the other bathing is a ritual bath. You see what I'm saying? A ritual bath, which means that you're doing that bath for a reason. You're showering yourself, you're cleaning yourself for a reason, which is linked with tahara, which is linked with your religion, which is linked with a reason about either salah or your wudu. In regards to al-ghusl, which we want to speak about, which is called ghusl janaba, if you want to call it. Cleansing yourself from impurity. Cleansing yourself from impurity. Let me just see if I can put that for those who are online. Voilà. They can see that if ever they want. This is for those online. Ghusl comes from the word to wash. It means to wash the body, the whole body, from head to toe in a specific manner. From head to toe, you perform your ghusl, you wash yourself in a specific manner. You can wash yourself by just diving into a river, yes or no? You don't call that ghusl. You can just dive into a sea, even though the water is pure. You can just dive in and come out, you're like, okay, now I'm going to ghusl that. An intention has to be there. A sequence has to be there, yes or no? This is what we call ghusl. How do we do it? We're going to speak about it, inshallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in regards, when do we have to perform ghusl? Of course, whenever you're in a state of janabah, whenever you're in a state of impurity, it's time for you to pray. At that moment, you have to perform ghusl. Which purity are we talking about here? Major impurity. Last time we spoke about the minor impurity, that if this happened, we had to perform wudu. Yes or no? Minor impurity such as urinating, defecating, perhaps small passing of the wind. These are minor impurity. You just need to perform wudu, you're fine. But major impurity is that you need to perform ghusl before you pray. Great. There are two ways of performing ghusl. Those who are online, they can take a picture of it. There are two ways of performing ghusl. Simple way and a complete ghusl. A simple ghusl and a complete ghusl. A simple one and a complete one. A simple one, and this is called, again, ritual bath. If you want to perform ghusl janaba, you call it. There are two ways of doing it. One simple way and one the sunnah way. So we want to speak, perhaps some people, they may not have water, no time, for example. The simple way of performing ghusl janaba is that simple, just memorize it. Just allow water to reach each and every part of your body, including your nose and your mouth. So you go into the washroom, bathroom, with an intention of ghusl janaba. Is it? Not because we're not performing wudu in there, so no need bismillah. If you want to say, no problem, your heart. You go with the intention. First and foremost, you're going to do ghusl janaba. You go inside the washroom. If you want to say bismillah in your heart, no problem. Let water fall on your body from head to toe. Each and every part of your body. And then you finish, and then you leave. If you want to use the shampoo, you want to use the shower gel, no problem. No problem, you can use shower gel and whatever, and then you leave. And then after that, you sleep yourself. And then if you want to make salah, do you have to perform wudu or no? Yes, because you did not perform wudu. Understand? Very good. That's a normal ghusl you've done now. Simple. Wash yourself from head to toe, including your mouth and your nose. So you finish, you go out. Intention, normal, like wudu. Make sure water is in your mouth and your nose. You wash your hands. Yes. 3 times. No, 1 time. At least 1 time. Because that's a normal, simple one now. A complete ghusl, this is something that I want you all, including myself, and everyone that we want to actually put into practice and implement. A complete ghusl is the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done. The way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done. How he would do his ghusl? We have 2 hadith from Salama and Aisha radiallahu anhum jami'an. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam And guess what? Sometimes he would take a shower with his wife. Sometimes the Prophet Muhammad would take shower or ghusl with his wife, until one of them would say, keep some water for me, keep some water for me. Which means they would use the same, the drum, they would use water from the same one, no problem. How did they used to perform the ghusl janaba? Firstly, you wash your hand. For Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, wash his hand first. And after that, okay, before that he will say Bismillah, yeah? Intention, Bismillah. Washing the hands, and then wash the private part front and back. Wash the private part, remove the impurity from the front and the back. Now you feel it's clean. Now you perform a full wudu in the washroom.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have clothes, no
47.
problem. Perform a wudu. Your mouth, your nose, your face, as I mentioned before. Wash your feet, عادي. One of the hadith says, wash your feet. Wash your feet. Don't.
46.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to use bucket back in the day, صح? They would use, he was 3 times on his head, and then 3 times the right shoulders, 3 times left shoulders, across his hand everywhere, making sure water has reached each and every part. We don't have bucket nowadays, do we? Perhaps in some part of the country they still have. Okay, in that part where we are over here in Marat, we have the shower. So after you've done your wudu, open the shower. Let the shower fall, the water pour upon you. Your head, make sure water gone in there, everywhere. You want to use the shampoo? Use the shampoo. You want to use your shower gel? Use the shower gel, no problem. But do not touch your private part. If you touch your private part, you have broken your wudu and your ghusl. Your wudu and your ghusl. So therefore, you wash everywhere because you already wash your private part. Then when you wash everywhere, then you can rinse your private part without touching it, yes or no? Everywhere, both sides. And then when you finish, if you feel you need to wash your feet again, wash your feet and then leave. You have performed ghusl. Now, after that, you want to pray. Do you need to make wudu? No. Because you already made wudu. Because you already performed wudu into that ghusl. So if you've gone outside, you haven't broken your wudu, you haven't passed wind, you haven't touched your private part with your bare naked hands. Put your clothes on, then go pray if you want to pray. One time, 1, twice, thrice, no problem. Just like a normal wudu. So I repeat how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would perform the wudu and how we can do it according to modern era. Your intention is to go and perform ghusl janaba. Yes or no? It's not a normal shower now. There's a reason you're going to do this now. A reason which is part of ibadah. Now this ghusl is going to come like an ibadah for you. All right? So you have your intention, ghusl janaba. And then, Bismillah. Wash your hands 3 times. Okay? And then make wudu. Sorry. Wash your hands. Wash your private part. Throw them back properly. And then you make wudu. And then you wash your whole body from head to toe. And then wash your feet and leave. Simple as that. This is called ghusl janaba, a complete ghusl which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done. Any question that you have, you can write them. For those online, you can write them after on the question or the comment. A description of a complete ghusl. There it is. Number 1, intention. Number 2, mention Allah's name. Number 3, wash the hand 3 times. Number 4, wash the private part from any filth, front and back. Make a complete wudu. And then pour 3 handfuls of water over your head, or else it can put the shower on your head, all over your body. And then at the end, no, pour 1 time. You open the shower, akhi. Open the shower. No, you can do all at once, no problem. If you want right time, no problem. And then akhi, keep all the question you actually. And then you wash your feet at the end. All right? Is that clear for everyone? You can ask the question afterwards. This is the description of the ghusl of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When does it come obligatory for a person? No. Same. Women and men, same way of making ghusl. When is it become obligatory for you to do ghusl janaba? When did it become obligatory? Number 1, when a man has got a wet dream, a boy, man, you wake up in the morning and then after sleep, you find there's some sticky fluid around your private part. At that moment, you know it is not urination. So you know this is sperm. At that moment, you have become impure. You have to actually go and perform that ghusl janaba. You became junub. Now we have to go and perform ghusl janaba. Number 2, when the sisters, the woman, has just finished their menses, they finish the period, at the time they cannot pray, they cannot do tawaf, they're going to have sexual intercourse until they have performed ghusl janaba. They have cleaned themselves. And the woman, they know when they have actually become pure after 6, 7, or 8 days, they got the white discharge or they see dryness, they will know now it is time for them to perform ghusl, that kind of ghusl janaba, and then after that they can pray. And the sisters who had actually given birth, after you've given birth, you go for a period where you excrete some blood, and this blood is impure. When you have this, called nifas. Yes or no? When you have this kind of bleeding from the sisters, you cannot pray until you become pure. It goes for 15 days, 20 days, maximum 40 days. If it comes 40 days, khalas, you stop, you just go and make ghusl. And again, the purity, sign of purity again, it is white discharge or a seize or a dryness, and they will know. When they see that, they go and perform ghusl before they start praying or have any other activities. As well as when someone has passed away. When someone has passed away, ghusl becomes wajib upon him. But you don't need to worry. It's not you're going to make it. Someone else will do it for you. When you pass away, someone else will perform your ghusl. That's why we do not bury you until we have washed you. Only one type of person that we don't do the ghusl. Who are they? Shuhada. We don't make the ghusl because they will wake up on Yawm al-Qiyamah as blood to be the witness. The blood is going to be the witness on Yawm al-Qiyamah. For the shuhada, we don't need to do the ghusl. And last one, I did not write it over here, I will write it after, which is when someone has had sexual intercourse. When someone has had sexual intercourse, husband and wife, they become sexually defiled. They can't, they become impure. As long as one's penetration has taken place, you become impure, junub, and at that moment, you cannot pray unless you have performed ghusl, both husband and wife. This is the full thing, and I'm going to write it here in case of of the sexual intercourse. So these four over here, when this happens, it becomes obligatory upon you to perform ghusl before you start praying. All right? These are the 4 times where ghusl becomes wajib. All right? When does ghusl become mustahab? يعني sunnah. When I ask a question, it's called a rhetorical question. I'm not asking, I'm not waiting for you to answer. You know, we are teachers. Sometimes in school, we ask questions, but we don't. Even when the Prophet Muhammad would ask a question to the Sahaba, he wouldn't expect them to answer, but they would say, Allah wa Rasuluhu a'lam. صح? فجزاك الله خير. When does ghusl become mustahab, which means recommended? Number 1, when a disbeliever embraces Islam. Today, my other masjid over there in Tikom, there was a new brother, mashallah, called Thomas. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep him steadfast. So when a new Muslim enter into Islam, it is sunnah for him to go and perform ghusl before he start praying. خلاص, go perform ghusl, he shave his pubic hair, he shave under his armpit, looks nice and clean, make ghusl, and then he or she start prayer. But if ever there's no time for ghusl, they can start praying straight away by just making wudu. Number 2, Friday prayer. Salat al-Jum'ah, ghusl is mustahab. Mustahab means highly recommended. If ever you did not have time to make ghusl, it didn't mean you should not be praying. And it is highly recommended for those who will be praying Salat al-Jum'ah in the masjid. The women, they're not going to pray Salat al-Jum'ah, yes or no? So it is not even mustahab upon them to do ghusl and Jum'ah. All right? Sometimes you see in some kind of culture, you find the woman, subhanallah, she will clean the whole house on a Friday. Quickly, I had to do ghusl, And then at the end, she just prays Salat al-Dhuhr. No. Al-ghusl for Salat al-Jum'ah is mustahab, is a highly recommended action. If you're already pure, then you can just go and pray Salat al-Jum'ah. But if ever you have time, you want to actually make ghusl, which is a sunnah, then you do it, you get a lot of reward. Fresh, you go to the masjid. Especially nowadays, in the region where we are, Salat al-Jum'ah is on a working day. So you make your ghusl before you go to your work. You can do ghusl anytime after Salat al-Fajr. After Adhan al-Fajr. The ghusl al-Jum'ah can be made anytime after the Adhan al-Fajr. Then you can stay with that until Jum'ah. If you want to make ghusl anytime before Salat al-Jum'ah and you're going to make Jum'ah in the masjid, then you pray, you make your ghusl, same like we mentioned, on a Friday. But it is, again, mustahab. Number 3, Salat al-Eidain. The 2 Eid, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. How many people miss Salat al-Eid? Sheikh, I was making ghusl. Sheikh, my whole family was making ghusl. I missed Salat al-Eid. What do I do? If you would have known, you wouldn't have made Salat. You wouldn't have made ghusl. As long as you are pure, you can come and pray Salat al-Eid. Yes or no? But if ever you have time, make ghusl. If you got no time and you're going to pray in the masjid or in the musalla, then you make ghusl. If the women are not going to pray in the masjid or in the musalla, there's no ghusl for them. صح ولا لا? Only for those who are praying. But this is something we need to understand, so that we can elevate this kind of burden from our sisters. And when you enter the state of ihram, when you enter the state of ihram for Hajj and Umrah, at that time, to do a new ghusl is not wajib. If you have time, you do it. If you don't have time and you're already pure, Just put the ihram on. Even wudu is not required. Make the ihram on, miqat, carry on. You're in the flight, you're already pure, put the ihram on, labbaik Allahumma umrah, carry on. Islam is easy. Due to our ignorance, we make it very hard. How many people you find them going and crowd themselves at the miqat, Dhul Hulayfa? Way buses and over buses, because the agent themselves are ignorant. In Hajj and Umrah, my advice to everyone over here, if you're going for an agent, make sure the leader of that agent knows the Sunnah way of doing Hajj and Umrah, not their own way, not their forefathers' way. You don't need to get down and perform ghusl in Masjid in Dhul Hulayfa. You don't need to get down there and put your ihram and pray there. You don't need to. All what you need to do is to enter the state of ihram at that place, even though you are in the car. When I was in Medina, and whenever we as a student, we used to go to Mecca. Once every month we used to go. In the car, in my house, I put the ihram on. I passed by miqat in the car. Miqat is here. I passed by it. I said, labbaik Allahumma umrah. I carry on and I go. Do I have to get down and make ghusl? Or no? Do I have to pray 2 rak'ah of ihram? No. There's nothing called rak'atain ihram. There's nothing called that. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not do rak'atain, 2 rak'ah of ihram. He prayed 2 rak'ah or any salah because it was salah time. So some ulama says if ever you want to do the same sunnah, so you make your ihram and then you go in the masjid, Dhul Hulayfa, you pray 2 rak'ah tahiyat al-masjid or tahiyat al-wudu, you go out. But there's nothing that says 2 rak'ah of ihram, nothing like this. So, going back to the subject, is that making a ghusl to enter ihram is not wajib. It is highly recommended. If you have time, do it. No time, don't do it. All right? This is something easy for the people, let's say, for example, from Medina, they're going to Mecca. They put the ihram at the hotel, they're going on the bus. When the bus is passing through Dhul Hulayfa, they say Dhul Hulayfa, they labbaik Allahumma umrah, carry on. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak, labbaik. Easy. All right? These are the 4 times when ghusl become mustahab. They're not wajib. So we guys need to understand what is wajib, what is obligatory, and what is not obligatory. All right? And this is something not really related, but this is something that I wanted to share with you. When do we actually need to make ghusl, and how do we do ghusl? Well, things that I've just written over here, things that are forbidden to do when we're in a state of janaba. When we are in a state of janaba, impure, what are the things that we cannot do? We cannot say. First and foremost, by the time we have become junub, don't waste time. Just go and perform ghusl. If ever you woken up and then you find out you got a wet dream, don't wait. Go and make ghusl. Don't be like, there's no salah now, I just wait, I go have breakfast, then later. Don't do this. Straight away go and perform ghusl. Make yourself tahir, pure. Sisters, if ever, for example, they already know they've got the white discharge, or they know they are pure, don't wait. Go do your ghusl straight away. You become tahir. So if ever you are in a state of janaba or impurity, there are 2 kinds. There are 2. Impurity for the women, impurity for the men. 2 kinds of impurity. Let's say for those who are on the menses, women who are on their menses, what are the things they are not allowed to do? Very simple. Very simple. They're not allowed to pray. They're not allowed to do tawaf. They're not allowed to fast. They're not allowed to touch the Quran. What is the Quran? Not the Mus'haf. The Quran, you know, the handwriting of the Quran. They're not allowed to do so. And of course, they're not allowed to have sexual intercourse with their husband. These 5 things only a woman can't do while they are on their menses or postpartum bleeding. I repeat, they can't pray, they can't fast, they can't do tawaf, they can't touch the Quran, and they can't have sexual intercourse with their husband until they become pure only. Apart from that, they can do whatever they want. They can read the Quran from their memory. They can read the Quran from the device. They can make dua. They can wake up tahajjud and make dua and make adhkar. Yes or no? They can do ruqyah. They can sit wherever they want. They can touch whoever they want. As normal, yani. The reason I'm saying is because in some culture, whenever a sister become impure, as if khalas, she had a special chair for her, a special bed for her, no one touch her, she can't go there, she can't go outside, she can't do this, she can't do that. What's going on? She's just a normal. She's on her menses because no, the God, you know, because the woman's system not the same as man. We've got nothing called fetus, embryo, and all this kind of egg that had to break in. We don't have this. They've got that. Allah has created them in this way. That is why at that moment they don't pray. At that moment they don't fast. Because Allah has removed that burden from them. Because it didn't affect them. But therefore there's nothing to look down upon. This is how Allah has created them. May Allah bless them and reward them and protect them. And they can do whatever they want except the 5 things I just spoke of. All right? This is one of the, we call that one of the impurity. And the other one, which is, for example, when you're woken up, you have had a wet dream, you're impure. At that time, it is disliked for you to recite the Quran. If ever you've just had sexual intercourse, and then you want to actually make the dua with Quran at that time, in your memory, it is disliked. All right? Even the Prophet Muhammad would dislike to mention the name of Allah when he would be impure. All right? But always, whenever you know that you are impure, and then you know that now you can go perform ghusl, don't delay. Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawwabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Allah love those people who constantly clean themselves. They don't let themselves be vulnerable to shaitan. Because you know, when you're impure, you're not having the same protection from the angels. The angels are tahir, they're pure, and they love to be around places and people who are pure. So this time we can always try to get ourselves as quick as possible in order to perform the ghusl. All right? I've got a question over here. If ghusl is done after Maghrib of Thursday, does it count? No. A ghusl is to be done Fajr after Adhan al-Fajr. Because now it is the day. If ever you're making ghusl in the night of Jum'ah, it's not the same as the day of Jum'ah. فهمت علي? The night of Jum'ah is from Maghrib until Fajr. Maghrib Thursday until Fajr Friday. It is the night of Jum'ah. But the Prophet Muhammad mentioned the day of Jum'ah. Making ghusl on the day of Jum'ah. When is the day of Jum'ah? After Adhan al-Fajr. All right? Any question, can write them. Questions?
Just have one question.
Yes, yes.
You said there's 2 types of ghusl.
Yeah.
The simple one and the complete one.
Yes.
But is it fine if someone like does the simple one always?
No problem. If ever you want to do the simple one always and then you do wudu after, no problem, inshallah. No problem.
Like there is no specific
No.
conditions says that you have to do this.
No, as long as you're doing the simple ghusl with the intention of janaba, no problem.
But like the reward is not the same. That's
No, no, it's the same. Yeah, of course, the reward not the same, but you still become pure. Saying assalamu alaikum for janaba, no problem. No problem replying salam instead of janaba.
Retirement for Eid, I just said for
The time of Eid,
time Eid, because for Friday you said it should
after
be
Fajr, again,
Eid prayer,
after Fajr.
you don't have that much time.
Yeah, this is it. If you can, yeah. But some scholars say you can do before Fajr, no problem. But the best time to do ghusl for Salat al-Eid is after the Adhan al-Fajr.
You can do both.
Yeah, but some scholars says because of the timing, you can do before, because already it's sunnah. You can do it before Adhan as well for Eid, no problem.
Wash the feet or
Yes.
one.
Yeah, but no, in a simple way, no need. As long as your feet is already washed, no problem.
Second question is, can I touch my private part after washing my feet? Or
Yes, if you have already washed your feet, and if you already washed your feet, that means khalas. Your ghusl is done. And after that, you have touched your private part. You just broken your wudu. Then you want to pray, you just make your wudu again, no problem.
The ghusl that we do on Jummah or Eid, do we have to follow the Sunnah way?
Yes, yeah, it's the same. Yeah, so that you have to follow it is the sunnah to do the sunnah way.
You can also do a simple
You can do the simple way as well.
you can eat in the state of janaba?
Yes, in the state of janaba, you can eat. As I mentioned, the only thing you don't do is to mention the name of Allah, which is dislike. For those, the normal janaba, but for those who are postpartum and menses, they can do anything except salah, tawaf, touching the Quran, session the course, and one more thing. Yeah.
I have heard that when we do ghusl janaba,
Mm.
so after washing the arms, then instead of doing the masak, you put water 3 times on your
No,
arm.
no. The way of making ghusl is the way we have actually mentioned now. Some people in ghusl, they read قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, and then they throw water on them. Where did you get that from? Allahu Akbar.
Can we wash our feet after we rinse?
Yes, look, the question he's saying, I didn't want to say because I don't want to cause confusion. One of the hadith where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would perform ghusl is that he would perform the wudu in ghusl, but he would delay washing the feet. So he would wash his hand, private part, yeah, and then he would perform ghusl, he would perform wudu, and then he wouldn't wash his feet. And then he would wash the whole body. And then before he would leave, he would wash his feet because back in the days, they never had drain. The water would be like a puddle in the front. Yes or no? Imagine you're taking a shower in the soil. There'll be water here. So when you finish, wash your feet and leave. But if ever you have a drain, you don't need to do it. But if you want to do it that way, no problem as well. One by one.
There is a, say for example, unintentionally, a lady touches you who is in an impure state.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. A woman, when she's on her menses, oh, she's just a normal woman. I understand.
Unintentionally.
No, if anyone touched you, even a woman touched you, even a woman on her menses touched you, nothing happened to your ghusl, or nothing happened to your wudu. Even if you're on your wudu, or you are already on ghusl, and you want to kiss your wife who is on her menses, nothing happened to you. Adi, no problem. It's you, got nothing to do with your wife. Yes. If ever you have touched your private part accidentally while making wudu, there are two opinions from the scholars. If you've touched your private part with, the back of your hand, no problem. But if you touch your private part with your palm, then you have broken your wudu, you redo the wudu again. Let's see his data. عادي جلدك روح.
When you do ghusl, complete way, when you do wudu, you need to say Bismillah before wudu.
No, you already said before, you remember?
How much portion of a body should be covered while taking ghusl?
Ah, good question. What do we need to cover when we perform ghusl? No need. Don't cover anything. Do your ghusl naked, no problem. Better. Who sees you in the washroom? When you do it naked, no one can see you. If you say Bismillah before going to the washroom, even the shaitan can't see you. Yes or no? Because the reason why we read the dua before entering the washroom, Allah put a hijab between us and the shaitan. It's only between you now. So when you don't have clothes on when you're making ghusl or whatever, you are sure water has been touched each and every part of your body. Don't worry.
It applies for wudu also. I can do naked.
Even though in your wudu, you can do in a naked state, no problem. No problem at all.
When we're coming for prayer, I can do naked.
Yes, no problem. No problem, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Yeah. No, it isn't. You're wiping your private part with a towel because you haven't touched your private part with a bare naked hand. It does not break the wudu. I got a question there, yeah? Assalamu alaikum. Good. In India, sorry for that. In India, women take ghusl after 40 days of giving birth. And this ghusl is done by reciting some dua and blowing in bucket of water. Then they do ghusl. It is correct? It's not correct. First and foremost, we don't need to wait for 40 days for nifas. Nifas means when someone has given birth, yeah, some blood has to be released. Same like the menses. All right. So she keeps on bleeding for around 15 days. Some women go 20 days. Some women go 30 days. Some women go 40 days. Some women go 50 days bleeding. But if ever you have got the dryness, my sister, if you have got your dryness or white discharge any days before 40, you make your ghusl. Maybe on the 20th day, you feel that, okay, now I'm dry. For like a whole day, I'm dry. There's no blood coming out. I saw the white discharge. At that moment, my sister, you perform ghusl. Even to the 20th day or 25th day, no problem. Because now you become 40 days is a limit. 40 days is a limit for those who are in nifas. Let's say, for example, it is already 41 days. It's 41 days or 42 days. You're still bleeding at that time, no. Once you reach 40 days, even though you're still bleeding, khalas. You go perform ghusl, you start praying. You can't bleed for more than 40 days. All right? And when you're making ghusl, it's a normal ghusl. Normal ghusl like ghusl janaba. Like we just mentioned. You don't need to read on anything. You don't need to whatever. It's a normal ghusl. Sheikh, I read in a book called Fiqh According to Quran and Sunnah by Dar al-Salam stated that touching your private part doesn't break your wudu unless you touch with desire. Yes, my sister, we spoke about this 2 weeks ago. The difference of opinion for those who say it touches and doesn't touch. All right? I know that Sheikh bin Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, has an opinion on it. Because by the time they asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you touch your private part, does it break your wudu? He said, no, it is part of your body. Your private part of your body. You know, the ulama said, unless you touch with desire. And the second time, he said, yes, it breaks your wudu. So the scholar says, to be on the safe side, perform the wudu. Perform the wudu. If ever you are upon the opinion it didn't break your wudu, then it didn't break your wudu. To me, I'm saying this because to be on the safer side, it actually breaks your wudu. Allah ta'ala alam. But she's right. We mentioned about that 2 weeks ago, but we want to go for the opinion that did break the wudu to be on the safer side because we do not know when did the Prophet Muhammad say it breaks, didn't break. If he said it break the wudu before he passed away, then we take that. It breaks the wudu. Because, you know what I'm saying? It depends upon the time he said it. If perhaps he said at the beginning of Medina, he said it didn't break the wudu. And then before he died, he said it break the wudu. Which one are you going to take? The last one. The last one because last question now.
Yeah, actually, for the leaves, there is a period for the menses, right?
Yeah,
For example, 14 days or something.
15, yeah.
So what if the ladies who will bleed after that also?
Very good question. Very good question. I'm expecting that to get from the sisters, but one day I can have, but I do that online. Every Q&A or every issue about menses and postpartum bleeding, the blood and the bleeding, the color and the characteristic and the smell of it, it's something that it is worth mentioning or having a talk about. We've done that before. But your question is, what if a woman bleed for more than 15 days? It does happen. 15 days is the max. Sometimes because sometimes it does go in a different way. Because sometimes the woman they get sick, it changes, the cycle changes. Sometimes they travel and they come back, the cycle changes. Sometimes when they lift up something weight heavy, the cycle changes. Sometimes they have some kind of pills, the cycle changes. It does happen sometimes. But if ever a woman know that the bleeding is actually menses, then it is already 15 days. On the 15th day, she take a shower. She take a ghusl, she start praying. She make ghusl, she start praying even though she's bleeding, because you cannot bleed for more than 15 days. That's the limit. When you fast 40, for menses is 15. Allah Ta'ala a'lam. Subhanakallah. And last one. Najasa, if any najasa come into your body, you wash only that part. If any najasa come into your body or on your clothes, you wash only that affected area. That's it. The rest of the area are clean. Better if a person has actually made the ghusl of a dead person, let him perform ghusl after, which is better. بارك الله فيكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وجزاكم الله خير. شكرا وفقكم. مع السلامة. حياك. I just switch it off and I come to you again. بارك الله فيك. كيف الحال؟ You okay? بارك الله. كيف الحال؟ الحمد لله. Okay.